Hello everyone, welcome to our shops tutorial. Before you watch this, I do recommend watching our text sprites video because we will be following on from that one. So all I have here is my example. So say I pick up some coins and you'll notice that I can't double jump if I press A twice. I can collect all my coins and go over to this shop sprite here, talk to them. Would you like to buy jumping boots for 10 coins? I'll say yes. And new item, jumping boots. You can now double jump. And you'll notice I can now double jump, so I can progress to the next part of the level. And if we go back to the start and I don't collect enough coins, say I only collect the 7 on the bottom here, if I now talk to the sprite, you don't have enough coins, and I can go back, collect up these coins, and try again. And we have the jumping boots. There we are. And the other scenario, if I don't get stuck, the other scenario we have there is I can talk to the sprite and I can say no, and we'll just close the shop and I can keep going, but can't double jump. So today we're going to be making that. So I've got the code left over here from our text sprite tutorial. So we had the coins that we can collect, and I've just set up the stage and I've given myself a place to put my shop sprite and a place to double jump to. So I have my code here. I've got my just normal unstart. I've got the coins, the text sprite, and the collecting coins, and I have double jump code here. To get this code, we also have a double jumping tutorial on our channel. That will also be up in the top right, and you can use that to get this code here, or you can just copy it from here. The first thing we'll do is we will create our shop. But to do that, we'll need two extensions. Number one is if we click on this and we'll scroll down for the sprite data extension here. So click on this one to download it. And this will add it into our thing. Then we can go back into extensions and we're going to scroll down until we find story, this one here. Okay, so our first step is to create our shop sprite. So if we head into advanced down the bottom and click on functions, we can make a new function, and I'm going to call this create shop. I can't type. Create shop. There we are. And then we're going to go into sprites, create a new sprite, and I'm just going to use one from the gallery. I'll use this monkey here. And this is going to be who we talk to buy the boots off. Or whatever you want to buy, but for me I'm going to be using double jumping, so I'll use boots. And then we're going to set the sprite's kind, create a new kind, and I'm going to call it a shopkeeper. Okay. And then we want to place our sprite, or just wherever we want them on our tile map. So there are lots of ways to do this, but I'm going to go here and hover my cursor over it, and you can see down the bottom, down this corner here, it says 26, and that's where I want my sprite to be. So I'm going to put those values into, if I go into scene, and grab this place my sprite, I'll put those values into here. So 20 and 6. And make sure it's the same sprite name as your shopkeeper. Now, we want to set this sprite's data to 1, what item they're selling, and 2, how much the item's going to cost. To do that, we'll go into sprites, and if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll find the extension we installed, the sprite data extension. And we want to set the item's name to a string. So grab this one here, set item data to string. Grab this one out. Make sure it says my sprite 2, because that's what my one says here. but you can, as long as this is the same as this, it's fine. And I'm going to call this, so set item to jumping boots. So this is where you put the item they're going to be selling. And then if we go to sprites, down again, and we want to set item data to number. Make sure it says my sprite 2 and type cost in here. And then this is where you put the amount of coins that your item will cost. I only have 10 coins on my map, so I'm going to put in 10 coins. So you need to collect all the coins before you can buy jumping boots. And the last step for this is to make sure we call in our onStart block, make sure we call our create shop function. Sweet. The next step is the game needs to know when we are talking to the sprite and when we're not. So you'll notice in my example that when I go and talk to this sprite, it pauses the game and I can't move around and I can't jump or anything like that. So to do that, we're going to go into loops forever, and we're going to make a variable called talking. And this is how the game will know if we are talking to a sprite. So that's in variables, and click make a variable. Sweet. Now we're going to logic and grab this if else. We'll click the plus once to get this little extra box, and then remove the else with the minus. So we should have if and else if. Now in logic, we're going to grab this one that says not, and then in variables, we'll drag talking into the blank spot there. So if we are not talking, then we want to be able to move our sprite. So going to move my sprite with buttons, click the plus because I've got a platformer game. If you are doing a top-down adventure game, etc., you won't need to change this. But for me, my platformer game, you don't want to be able to fly, so I can't move up and down. And else if, and then we'll go into variables and grab talking. So if we're not talking, we want to be able to move, but if we are talking, we don't want to be able to move. So we'll grab this my sprite with buttons, move my sprite, and then click on the plus and set both these values to 0. These values are the speed at which your sprite moves. So if there's 0, your sprite won't move at all. And now if we go to our onStart block again, wherever you have your move my sprite, you can delete that and replace it with set talking to false. Just like that. So now you'll notice we can still move around because we're using the talking variable to decide if we can move or not. Next, we want to make a way for us to start talking when we walk into the shop sprite. So my shop sprite is here, but I can just walk straight through it right now. So we want to be able to start talking whenever we walk into the sprite. So if we go into sprites and scroll down to this my sprite overlaps other sprite. So it's on sprite of kind player, because that's what I am, I'm the player. Overlaps another sprite of shopkeeper. There we are. We want to go into variables and set talking to true. And then we want to make a function which will open the shop. So in advanced functions, we'll call it open shop. And then we want to click on sprite here. And we'll call this shopkeeper. Click on done, and we'll put this underneath here. Now if we go to functions, we want to drag call open shop into our overlaps block. And where it says my sprite, we want to drag other sprite into there. So when the shop opens, we want a message to pop up asking them if they'd like to buy the item and telling them how much it costs. So to do that, we're going to go into game and grab this show long text. Drag that in. And for our text, we're going to go into the text thing underneath advanced and grab this join block. Put that in there. Now, this is where we will ask them if they'd like to buy the item. So I'm going to put, would you like to buy, in space, and then this is where I'll put the item's name. So if we go into sprites and scroll down to item data as string, this is where we will use this here. So see, I've set the sprites data to the string jumping boots. This is so if we have more than one shop, it will still be able to get the name of the item. So we'll grab shopkeeper and put it where it says item, like that. And then click on item here. So click on this blank box and it should show up with the option for item. So would you like to buy the item's name? So that will be jumping boots in this case. Then click on this plus. In here, do space, and then go 4, and then space again. Then we can click on this plus, and once again go into sprites, all the way down to the bottom, and this is where we'll get the cost. So this is item data as number. Drag that out, put shopkeeper, and where it says item, and click on cost in this blank spot here. Then we'll press the plus one more time. Then we'll do a space, and then we'll put coins, question mark. So it's, would you like to buy item name for the cost coins? And then we want to ask them yes or no. So if we go into story, we can grab out show player choices. And then we can put yes and no in here. Now if we hop into logic and grab this if else, and then into story, we can find this last answer equals. Put that in there. And if they said yes, and I'd recommend copy pasting this. So if you click on yes here and press Control C, then click on this blank one and Control V, just to make sure it's the exact same, because if there are any differences, it won't work. And then we'll come back to what we put in here in a second. But if we're not putting, if they said yes, we'll come back to this part. But if they said no, so the else part here, we want to go into sprites and find this set my sprite kind. Now we'll drag shopkeeper down, set the shopkeeper's kind to make a new kind and call it cool down. And then the last step for this part here is to go into variables, and we will set talking to false because we have finished talking to them. So first we'll deal with this cooldown variable. What does this do? So when a sprite is on cooldown, we want it to wait a bit, so as soon as we close the text, it doesn't open it up straight away again. So it has this short cooldown period where we can't talk to it for a little bit. So if you go into shops, into loops, sorry, click on forever, drag this down here, and then we want to do loops again for element value of list. I'll zoom you in a bit, just realize it's been quite zoomed out. For element value of list, and in the list we'll go into sprites, and we'll place in this array of sprites of kind, and change this to cooldown. So for each sprite on cooldown, we want to pause, this is in loops, pause for 2 seconds, and then we want to set, back into sprites, set my sprite kind, I'm going to set value kind back to shopkeeper. So just over that again, forever, for each sprite of kind cooldown, we want to wait 2 seconds and then switch it back to the shopkeeper. And now we're up to this if last answer equals yes. So if they do want to purchase the item, we will put them through this function called, so we'll make a new one, purchase item. Oops. And I've forgotten to do it, but if you're not up to this part yet, click on edit function, or just do it in the first place, and add in a sprite, call it shopkeeper. Same as last time. So make sure it's on the sprite one, otherwise it won't work. There we are. So we want to purchase the item. So if we go back in here and grab this call purchase item, we'll put that in the last answer equals yes. So if they say yes, we want to purchase the item, and make sure we drag shopkeeper into where it says my sprite. Just like that. Now, to purchase the item, first we need to check if they have enough coins. So if we go into logic, and we'll grab this if else, and back into logic, and we'll grab this one of these ones out here again, put it in here, and we want to make sure it has this greater than or equal to, so it's right at the bottom. Click on this one, and now in variables we want to grab out coins. So this is left over from your text sprite tutorial, so hopefully you followed along with that one. Otherwise you might be a bit confused at this point. So definitely watch that one first. But this is what we use to show the amount of coins we have. So there we are. We'll put coins in here, and then in here we want to go into sprites, because we are getting the cost of the item. So this is item data as number. Place that in there. It'll be shopkeeper data and then cost as number. So if you have more coins than the cost of the item, it will work. If you don't have enough coins, we want to go into game and grab the show long text again, and we'll put you don't have enough coins. This is just so they have a message in when they don't have enough money, otherwise they'll just be confused. So the player, that is. So do make sure you have a message here. And then in sprites, we want to set the shopkeeper's kind. So set shopkeeper kind to cooldown, just the same as it was down here. Now, if they do purchase the item, we want to go into logic, grab this if block out, grab out the equals. Oh, sorry. Make sure you go back to logic. It needs to be this equals here with the text, like little apostrophes, quotation marks there. And then into sprites, we're going to get the item's name. So that is under item data as string. Put it in there. Drag shopkeeper where it says item. And this is data item, like that. And then here we need to put the name of the item we are buying. So to do that, go back up to your create shop and press Control C on this, because if it's different at all, it won't work. And then Control V here to paste it. And then we want to go into variables, and this is where you'll do the variable for whatever you're doing. So for me, I'm doing double jumping, so I'm going to put in my variables set double jump. Oh, let's put it double jump. Let's say my variable. So this is if they have double jump or not, and we'll set double jump to true. And then if you're going to have a variable like this, make sure you go back to your on start block, this one here, and we are going to make sure we have a set double jump to false in the start block, just so they know at the start that we don't have the double jump and we can't do it yet. So back down to here, we've set double jump to true because we have the jumping boots. And now we want to go back into game again and grab this show long text, put it underneath this if block so it's separate from this here, and we'll go into text again, join, and it will say new item. Oh, and I'll put a little colon there, and then here we'll put the item's name. So once again in sprites, scroll down to item name is string. Oh, item data is string. Instead of item, it's shopkeeper because we want the shopkeeper's data. And we want item. And then under here, we want to set the shopkeeper's kind. We're not setting it to cooldown again because we've already bought it. So we want to set the shopkeeper's kind to purchased. Just so the game knows that it doesn't need to talk to the sprite again. And now the last step is for me, I'm going into my double jumping code here. Now, this is important for everyone's game, is to make sure that you can't jump if you are talking. So make sure you go into this, put this if block around all your jumping code, grab this not block here, and then put talking into it. So if you're not talking, then you can jump. And now this bottom part here is the double jumping piece, and we don't want to be able to double jump if we don't have the jumping boost. So I'm going to grab out an AND block, put jump in one half of the AND in there, and in the other half I'll put in double jump. And now you'll see we're all done. So I can't double jump before the game starts. If I jump over and collect up 7 coins, I can talk, but I can't buy it because I press no, whoops. But I can't buy it because I don't have enough coins. So if I go back, collect the rest of the coins, still can't double jump. Talk to the monkey. Yes, I would like to buy the jumping boots. And now I can double jump my way to the rest of the level. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or are struggling with anything, please let us know in the comments. And if you do need any specific help, to send us your code so we can have a look at it for you, you can click on this share button, click share project, and then click copy. And you can send this link to us in the comments in this video if you have any trouble, and we can look through it and let you know what to do. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.